Good morning, everybody, and happy Monday morning, March 14th, 2022. Yesterday was an interesting day. My fourth day in a row of sifting through all the joys that I earned. It was like cruel and unusual punishment. Have you ever had to do that? Earned joys and had to pick which ones you could keep and which ones you couldn't? How would you feel if you were given joys and then had them taken away from you for no good reason, just because somebody felt like inflicting more harm on you? Cruel and unusual punishment is how I felt. Yet, I still had a sense of peace because I started really thinking about the joys given by somebody that lives with greed every day of their life. When you are told constantly, after being abandoned more than once, and this by far was the worst sense of abandonment, being thousands of miles away from everybody, and then the few people that you do know locally turn their back and slam the door in your face. Really? Talk about thinking you're being dropped off in hell when you already lived through hell in Indiana. So I've been abandoned in paradise. So despite those doors being slammed in my face, look at the strength I had. I lived with constant pain daily. Daily. And man made it about money. Saw joy by me decorating the house that I was in, even though I was in chronic pain. And I did it quite thrifty, unlike man does everything with greed. Writing checks like it doesn't matter. When you look around, and I saw all the blessings outside of man's greed, starting with my two girls and Hannah hugging me constantly when man was nowhere to be found. When man made all these promises, blah, 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 and didn't follow through with many of them. And then the excuses started piling up. So the last 4 days sorting through these joys was cruel and unusual punishment till I saw the light. I thought, you gotta be kidding me. Man gives me all these joys. Again, they have a price tag attached to them. And I'm supposed to be harmed by this? No. I'm not going to be harmed by this because I've got this sense of peace ever since arriving here, even though I was abandoned and left for dead yet again. Why do you think man went into hiding? Because he can't stand to watch the truth unfold. He thought he was going to beat me. Well, he thought wrong. If there is one thing everybody knows about Natalie, is the strength that I have within is bar none. And man tried to beat me down to nothing. And he protected me from man. And he'll protect you too. You surrender to him, and he will protect you. So day 4, after day 3, did a number on my frickin' head because the tool next door is out in full force. Well, he wasn't out yesterday because he's afraid of Natalie, because he's afraid of him. So it was quite quiet. And I didn't leave there with any pain yesterday. And I started looking at all those joys that I've been sifting through. Like man did. It's all about money. So, those joys that I were given have value. Even after I'm being stripped of them. Because they're going to be sold. And that money is going to provide for me. Despite what man stripped me from. Without any kind of notice. Without any kind of reason. Oh. And playing hide and seek. That's what I'm going to call it. Because he likes to play games, man does. Look around at our government. Talk about game players. And none of us signed up for that game. This kind of game, that's for sure. So when you look at all those joys in a different light, and you're constantly hearing, peace I give you, I bring you peace. You know, I keep telling people this sense of peace that I've never felt before. And that comes from full surrender to him. It don't matter what people say or do. That's their demons to slay. I just look at them, and then they run. And then they run in fear. Oh, they'll tell you it's not fear. Well, then what you call it? Keep slamming them doors in my face? You got to answer to him. I'm unscathed from it. I just look at you like, really? Okay. You want to squawk at me and be critical of me? I've never been critical of anyone. All I've done is tell them the truth. And then they run in fear. No harm, no foul on my part. Because I'm not trying to inflict harm on anyone. I'm just trying to help. That's all I've ever tried to do with people. My whole life. And arriving at this resort was the biggest reward of my life. You want to talk about joy? The joy that I have every day. Seeing my 2 girls happy and thriving was the greatest gift of all. Because the first year I was here, and I lived in that 3-bedroom, 3-bath home, I loved it. It was beautiful. And it was my think tank. It was my think tank. And it was a house of healing. And look how long I've been out of there and the house isn't sold yet. It's going to take a special kind of someone to walk into that house because Jesus is baked in that house. Every inch of it. Every inch of it. Remember Green Acres? Remember Green Acres? As a friend of man, that's all I need. For this family needing a bigger home. And me and my friends with all the love. Turn that place of hell into a Garden of Eden for this family to walk into. That's of God. So now we're in Summerlin Key. And you see how it all works out? I'm thrown out in the street with the wolves because man doesn't feel like providing for me anymore, even though the promises were there constantly. And people are constantly worried about me, which they don't need to be, because I am of the mindset of, if I had to sleep in my Jeep, I would have. I didn't care. Because I knew I was going to come out of this unscathed. And I'm still going to use my voice for the greater good while man's still in his selfish ways. All about him. All about hoarding his money from the rest of the world, not sharing the wealth like God taught us. Look around, that's what man's constantly doing to us all. Taxing us to death, come on. So, every lion's cage I've been thrown into, I learned from it. Oh boy, do I learn. Because that's what I've done my whole life. I've done a lot of this and a lot of that, even though people tell me I need to listen more. I just giggle. Wow. People can be so. What's the word I want to use here? Self-serving. What's in it for me? Well, man found out quickly what was in it for him when he attempted to crawl in. Well, when he crawled into bed with me naked when I'm fully in pajamas and crawls over towards me and I crawl away. Just because man promises my father on a deathbed, I've got our girl, does not entitle man to take anything from me. Not ever. There's nothing for man to take. You have to ask for permission. And I've always asked for permission. And I asked for permission from man every time I spent a penny, unless it was for something that we needed, food and shelter. Everything else I asked for permission for. And if man says otherwise, well, he's a big freaking liar. And I will call him out on it every freaking day because I have tons of witnesses, tons of them, that will testify against man, proving his ignorance. Proving his ignorance, even though man thinks he's so smart. Man may be smart, making money, but the way you treat people, he keeps record of. Oh, and I'm still smiling. It's like a permanent smile on my face. And meeting that boy from Poland brought it home. How do you have that permanent smile on your face? Not man. That's him. And Jesus and my pop and all my angels, my former clients, my Grandma June, and people wonder why I have a sense of peace. So those joys that are being stripped from me are bringing me more joy every day. And yesterday was a perfect example because I make sure I get back in time for the sunset, but I forgot about the time change. There's another joy. Because Hannah knows the drill. She knows the timetable, and she's ready. And she was a little confused because I was home earlier. But the realtor needed to lock up the house, and she was headed to Key West, and I was done. I was exhausted. So I get her, and Harley wants to stay in the room, which is fine. So Hannah and I embark on our sunset trip down the path, down the little road here, which is all in one little community here. It's like a little community is what I want to call it. And I don't have her on a leash. I put her shock collar on because it's a very great training advice. Would I want one? No, but it has been quite effective with her, and most of the times I don't even have to hit the shock collar. I mean, she already knows if she's got it on. If she doesn't behave, she's going to get shocked. And it's quite effective because she listens, she's beside me, and she's free. It's her choice what she does. So I hear music. And they always have like music playing. But I was like, this is different. It sounds like live music. And sure enough, there were two gentlemen playing guitars. Talk about joy. And this is the first time since I've been here. I said, so now wait a minute, God, you've sent me here. It's like a Coco Cabana on steroids. And I get to spend time with my Hannah. Me and her. It's our alone time. Watching the sunset, and now we've got live music. Are you kidding me? Wow. Just wow. And Hannah met a new friend and crawled into her lap. And I've got pictures. So sweet, so sweet. Everybody just came, what kind of dog is she? Blah, blah, blah. And they loved on her. So we just sat there and she worked the room like she loves to do. Until this woman came with her little dog on a leash. Well, there's our first problem. Dogs shouldn't be on leashes. They shouldn't have to be. They immediately they're put on defense. When they're free, and they have fun. Like a few nights ago when Hannah met Buck, and those two were like two little kids running around. Okay, well, anybody knows Natalie knows that my dogs have never been needed to be on leashes. Man made it that way. Man made you put them on a leash because man understood that dogs are a great judge of character. And I dated a guy that found that out quickly. And I kept trying to tell him, don't play fight with them because, I'm sorry, my dogs don't like that. They don't like that at all. But he kept doing it. He kept doing it. And getting a little more violent with them. Well, what happens to you when somebody gets violent with you? Do you just clam up and walk away? Or do you put up your dukes? That's what my Rottweilers do. That's what my dogs have done my whole life. Is they put up their dukes because they know what their role is in the family. To protect and serve. Not to abandon, throw to the wolves, and leave for dead. Man could learn a lot from our beloved pets, our beloved family members. Those men that keep our beloved pets chained outdoors, thrown in cages. Those are men you want to know. At what point did man forget that God put them on earth for a reason? To protect us from people just like that. Why else would Hannah not like man? She didn't like man from the get-go. And here I was worried that this gift wasn't going to be a gift for me at all. Because man picked it up, picked her up, and delivered her to my arms. But I found out quickly. What I thought was going to happen was not even close. Because as soon as Princess Hannah Grace saw me, the love in her heart poured out of her, and she came running towards me to be rescued from man. To be rescued from man. Because man put her in a cage and let his beloved roam free. When you really look at that on a larger scale, it's quite interesting to digest. So here's this woman walking her little dog, and instead of doing the smart thing, when she sees Hannah running, which she wasn't running to hurt her or him, she was running to play. It's another dog. It's another four-legged. I can envision her thoughts. Oh my gosh, here's another one of me, but it's little. Let me check it out. So instead of this owner picking up her dog, she just leaves it on the ground for the dog to get tormented. And it's my fault. It's all my fault. Now this little dog, I could have picked up with one hand. But instead, she starts yelling at me to put my dog on a leash. Really? Well, I got a whole crew of witnesses that were all loving on her, and she worked the room. And there was no violence attached to my dog. But that's what this woman wanted to make it about. Yelling at me just like the night before, 2 nights prior to that. Put your dog on a leash. No. I'm not going to, and you can't make me. Let me see your papers about why you have a service dog. I looked at her, I said, I had blood clots in my brain in 2020. And she still attacked me and still started to talk to her friends. Oh, blah, blah, blah. I just looked at her and said, I'll pray for you. And I walked away. And she's still bantering. I don't need to listen to that crap. It's just like, seriously? And this is the world we're living in? So last night, this woman doesn't want to take any responsibility for her dog getting tormented. And there was no tormenting. She made it about that. Hannah was just being a love and wanting to play. You see, when you look at life in a different light, how things change. So I put Hannah on a leash. Didn't need to, because Hannah sat right in my lap the rest of the night until we left. And as soon as I got far enough away, I made her know. I took her off the leash so she could see it. And I'm sure she sat there scared, and she ought to be, because she's got some demons inflicting her. And she's passed them on to her sweet little dog, because her fear is being passed along. The problem is, if anybody knows me, I haven't lived in fear for the last year, because I've had him on my side, leading the way, despite what man keeps trying to do to me. So here she is talking about, oh, that big dog scared her, and she's gotten past her fear of dogs. I'm like, oh, blah, 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 blah. Talk to the hand. What a bunch of horse shit. What a bunch of horse shit. Those who live in fear are living in their own bondage. When are you going to break free of that bondage that keeps you in fear? I never locked my doors at my house. I didn't need to. I didn't need to. Because the people that I invited into my house would steal from me. They'd steal my joy, try to steal my joy, inflict pain and suffering on me, and leave me for dead, and pack up and leave, without a care in the world after they took from me. Oh, they're watching in the wings for me to fail. You think he's going to let me fail now, after I've been homeless? You don't think he's a part of this? Well, wake up, people. He's here, and he's healing the land. Because every person that I tell to check out my YouTube channel, I'm calling Jesus, And so are they. How can I lose? I'm not doing anything for myself. I'm doing everything for the world. And it started with my little pea brain, because I got a tiny little head. Read my Bible. And putting all those years of listening to work in a whole different light. In a whole different light. When you apply what you've learned and you reap what you sow, how can you go wrong? You can't. You can't. I get here and I meet Dennis the Menace, whose daughter has the same birthday as mine, and he's had Rottweilers. But they've been living on a boat, so having a Rottweiler on a big boat is kind of hard. Although they love it, they don't have room. So he has a smaller dog, but not a tiny dog. You think he was put in my path for an accident? He's given me great advice. And he told me to be patient with my Mustang in selling it. So that's exactly what I've done. And in the meantime, those joys that I was given freely of have turned into man's money. That's what I'm going to call it. To pay for things and provide for me and my girls. When man stripped me of it without any kind of notice, even though I was told I was going to continue to be provided for until I could provide for myself. Okay, now that doesn't mean that you have to take those joys that you received and sell them to provide for yourself. That's not how that works. When you put your money where your mouth is, you need to follow through on what you put in that yap of yours. So you see, man giveth, and man taketh away. But look what happens when you fully surrender to God, what He provides for you. Are you kidding me? Everybody knows how much I love my Coco Cabana. But I loved it until I didn't love it anymore. Because people started changing. People started wanting more. Take, take, take. Then they started talking about me behind my back. Treat me like garbage. So I'd go home and cry at night by myself. And then I'd get up and start all over and give my heart. And then I'd go home and cry. Yeah, that's how I lived in Indiana. Daily. And then I got sick. And man didn't know what to do because there was nothing else he could take from me. He had taken everything else. So what'd man do? Flee. Go horse around. Because that's all he's ever known. You don't know the truth until it hits him in the face. And he runs from it. Because it scares him. But when you see man's mother on her deathbed reaching out for you, you know where your role is. You know where your role is, and so does she. But man's too stupid just sitting there. Mom, that's Natalie. Oh, she already knew. Why else would I have asked to go and see her? Man never offered me to go in to see his mother. I said, well, can I go with you? I asked for permission. And he said yes. See what happens when you ask for permission? Yet man still man needs to do this. Because you've been doing this long enough. And we're sick and tired of the bullshit. Those who live in glass houses and throw stones. I'm not getting beat up anymore. He won't let me. He has armed. I am robed in his righteousness. And when you walk around and you feel like that, people see it. And they're everywhere. There's lots of us out there. It's taken me a long time to get to this point in my life. And I will be damned if anybody thinks they're going to strip that robe of righteousness that I earned from him away from me. You can think again. And walking into this place with enough money on my Venmo from people helping me, and my friend Peppermint Patty walked me into this store 50-50. And I've been showering them with my joys daily. Daily. Because they're the only ones here that have been helping me. Even though I had some friends here when I arrived. Those doors have been slammed in my face as well. On way more than one occasion. But coming over to my house and partaking in Christmas dinner. Oh, they're all about that. But when we needed a place to stay, I can't have that at my house. I moved down here to get away from all that. Really? Okay. Good luck to you. That's all on you with Jesus. I have done my job. I have tried and tried and tried. So my friend Peppermint Patty and Trip, they're the ones. And my next door neighbor, Angel Cindy, and her husband. She's helped me carry boxes down, load up the car. Even my little Coast Guard came over if there's anything I can help you with. So then when I text him, again, hey, could you come over and help because I was running out of steam loading up my Jeep. Well, what exactly would you like me to help you with? Never mind. Don't offer it up if you don't have the follow through. And that's what man does constantly. They'll offer it up, but there's no follow through. offer it up, but there's no follow through. So you think I'm going to ask my little Coast Guard neighbor to help anymore? No, absolutely not. Because I don't care. That's their own demons to slay. Not mine. I could care less. I ask once, and I don't ask again. And that's not the first time my Coast Guard offered to help. Oh, he's done it several times. And then when I ask him, when I really need him, slam the door in my face. I need to explain to him why I need his help, even though he offered it up. Really? Give me a frickin' break. You offered to help. So maybe the next time you offer to help, you need to listen to what is coming out of your mouth. Because to me, that's diarrhea. More diarrhea from man coming out of its mouth, spewing a bunch of BS, and then the follow through isn't there. Look at your own life. Look at others around you. Look at the takers and the givers. You can clearly see them. They're a dime a dozen. Oh, but the takers are out there. Oh, they're in full force. They are in full force. So every day, for 4 days in a row, Peppermint Patty and Trip have been there. They're the only ones. The only ones. I've even promised things to others, and they can't even bother to text me back. So you know what? That's all on them. That's all on them. All I've done is give to everyone my whole life. And they think that I'm just going to go out of my way and bend over backwards for them, or you can forget it. I have had it with you people. Taking and taking and taking from me and others. Just like man in office. And all those yes men. It's not okay. It's never been okay. It's never been okay. So you see, God just sent me this place on a silver platter. And my views and impressions are increasing daily. This morning, I'm up to 72,100 impressions and 8,900 views. I did that, and it didn't cost me a cent. It just cost me my time. Something that man has no time for. Constantly asking man, when are you going to take the time? Rather than running and horsing around. When are you going to give me your time? Instead, man runs. It's all about him. All about the flash of cash and writing those big fat checks. I've never seen anybody in my life write checks like man does. Every time I wrote checks that were sizable, and obviously they weren't, I just looked at them. Even when I was given permission to write the checks, I just looked at them and would calculate how many hours that would have taken me to make. And I billed out at $75 an hour. My money meant nothing to me in the end. Because look what man made it about. That's why I gave it all away. And everybody squawked at me because I didn't have a nest egg. I followed God's teachings, did what Jesus taught us, to share the wealth, which I did freely. And you ask anybody. You ask anybody. But here's man, sitting on his throne, writing checks left and right, without a care in the world. Or does he? It's kind of funny how man thinks they can do this and get away with it. Well, I'm about to prove to man, when you harm Natalie and the rest of the world, you're not going to get away with it. God didn't keep me here to be quiet anymore. Nor should any one of you. And I hope you did your homework assignment and sat down and wrote the list of things that man has harmed you in your life. You know, those elected officials and all. And what it's done to your children. And if you haven't, go back to my 5th or 4th Silence No More video and bone up on it. I think it's the 5th one though, because that was yesterday and Sunday. But don't quote me on that. It was a Silence No More video recent. I gave America and the rest of the world a homework assignment, and it's an easy one. And if you want to just be in your own little world and pretend like the rest of the world isn't going on right now, well, then that's your choice. But for the rest of us that are wide awake, and we've flippin' had enough, stop raining on our parades, because we're going to do something good for this world. And we're going to stop these lawbreakers once and for all. But we have to do it in unity. We have to do it and unite in love. Not all this hatred. Why must you keep attacking us that are trying to do good? Shut your pie holes. Seriously, shut the freaking pie holes and let us do God's work. Because I, for one, will not go gently into the night. I will rage against the dying of the young. And that's what man is attempting to do to our children and those that are in the womb. And that's not okay. And that's not okay under his eyes. He's the commanding chief officer of this land, not man. And man wants you to think he holds all the cards. Well, your house of cards is about to come tumbling down. Just saying. Patience is a virtue. And the best part is, man doesn't know what's going to happen next. And that's what I love. What is it? The sneak attack? The terms of engagement. Just saying. Total Recall. I got more rewards last night as I'm sifting through the stuff. As I'm sifting through the joys, the rewards that man provided me with. Because he still thought that if he provided me with all these rewards, that he'd get something in return. Out of lust. He thought wrong. Oh, it may have worked before, but it'll never work again. And I will never, ever bow down to a man again. The only man I'll bow down to and I will kneel to is him. So put that in your pipe and smoke it. You can't take my heart, and you can't take my brain, and you can't take my yap. He's not going to let you. Man runs in fear, but inflicts pain and suffering constantly on people like me. Until people like me have enough and say when. And look at my cup, it runneth over with blessings and rewards and miracles left and right. My Coco Cabana back home was a place of fellowship. It was a place of joy and laughter. And yeah, there was some sadness. But when everybody was there, life was a party. And now I'm at a resort that I don't have to do any of it. I can just enjoy this new Coco Cabana. I've got a pool and a hot tub, and them combined is bigger than the Coco Cabana and Green Acres together. I've got a beach with the sunset, live music, a marina, tennis courts. The amenities are endless. Every morning I stop at the front desk. Are you ready for your breakfast yet? No, I don't need any more yet. I still have yogurt and juice. And I bought English muffins. So no. So I go up there, they make fresh water with either sliced lemons or sliced oranges. So I go up to the front and I chat with the staff. And one of the gals that cleans the rooms, when I said good morning, it was like she was so happy to see me. That's how the staff is. They love my girls. And I go, well, I have to run out. And if they get a little, we'll go in and chat with them. They'll go love on them. I go, okay. I said, I can't take them with me because I need all the space I need. I can in my Jeep. And I didn't even have the strength to unload my Jeep on the third day. So I took my Mustang and loaded it up. See why you wait and you have to be patient? Because I needed it to keep going. So I put all soft stuff in my Jeep, or in my Mustang, so it didn't harm the Mustang at all. Brand new garbage bags I threw clothes in. So I packed it up with that kind of stuff, so it didn't harm anything for my Mustang. So this morning, before I get going, I got to go to the storage and unload the Jeep. But the Mustang can sit there with the stuff in it, doesn't matter. See how great that is? How it works? And I've got to get a second storage because the size of storage that were available will not house my business stuff with the little bit of personal stuff that I'm keeping. 5x5 is not very big. So think about your life. I got the opportunity to get back in the house to get my things, and then whatever I don't want, we're going to sell so that I can provide for myself that much longer. And I'm supposed to put my life in a 5x5 storage container. Look around your house. Measure out 5 foot by 5 foot. And that's 5 foot by 5 foot. Actually, it may be taller than that. No, it's 5 foot by 5 foot. Not sure the height. But there's it doesn't go to the ceiling. There's like a netting because it's climate controlled. But look around your house and think about that. We got too much stuff. We don't need all of it. I think I'm starting a new way of living. People should catch on, because this is the way to go. I can make a nice little home for me in this. I'll have to figure out what the square footage is, and I can't wait to unfold it when I'm done. Because I thought La Casa was the only place I'd have my think tank. Well, it's on steroids in this place too. And it's not just about me, it's about what I can see that I can do to help this resort without spending a penny of their money. And the donations that I can give for the rewards that I was given, and continue to have some joy with them. You know Natalie likes to decorate. You know Natalie likes a good party. You know Natalie can make anything a Garden of Eden. And it's springtime. So, oh yeah. Hannah's had her backpack on, but that broke last night, so I have to figure that out. Although I know a place that can stitch it up. So, despite the cards you're dealt, you going to wallow in self-pity? Or are you going to take those cards and have a royal flush? Flush all the garbage down the toilet. Out with the old, in with the new. And flourish. Because you'll flourish. But you got to get rid of all the crap that's clouding your judgment. Think about it. When you eat food, your body absorbs the nutrients and it processes through, and what your body no longer needs comes out the other end. Comes out the other end. So why are you allowing people to steal your joy? Don't. When you sit down on the royal throne for your morning poop, think about all those toxins coming out of your body. All that crap you no longer need. It's funny. Every time I video chatted with man, I was cleansing him. Because remember, I'm an ordained minister. And all those things of truth. He had to go to the bathroom every freaking time. Every freaking time. Because I was cleansing him of all those demons that were causing him to hurt others. Until he slammed the door in my face. And now he's running with those demons. And he's losing every day. Because he can't take anything from me. And I'm the only one. I'm the only one. So that's not harmed by him anymore. Because I stood up to him. And it started with buying my own pair of boots. Because I was a strong, independent woman, and I'm still her today. You want to know why I'm different? Because I'm armed with him, not man. That's why I've always been different than any other person this man met. That's why he kept coming back for more. Because there was good inside of man. And I was the only one digging it out to the surface. Yet that devil kept lying. Oh, and he's still lying to him today. You see, when you put life into perspective, and you're enlightened by him, how easy it is to get through day by day. My tears are tears of joy. And every time I have tears of joy, he rewards me again. And that music, 2 guitar players. To be honest, the guy reminded me of Brian James when I walked up. True story. And I always adored listening to Brian play music. And even if he sat on his bed and he got his guitar out, there was just something beautiful about it. Well, there's tons of music in the Bible and dancing. Even though the Baptist religion says, that's not good. People wonder why I got ordained universally. Because that's under God. There's no rules and regulations under God. You just file the Bible. There's your manual. Open it up and start reading it. If you don't understand it yourself, then listen to one of my videos. I'm trying to make the Bible easier to understand, using my emotions with it that just freely come out of me, unrehearsed. They're just who I am. I've always been transparent. Oh yeah, people tell me I need to be, why you share everything on Facebook, blah, blah, blah. Why do I have to hide? By me sharing what I've learned has helped enlighten so many. I'm not judging anyone. Oh, but I'm getting judged daily. Truth seeker. Wow. I get attacked by a truth seeker. Well, that's the name that they decided to attach to themselves. No picture of who they are, and not their name. See how the devil inflicts bondage? I just fire back with scriptures. I really don't care what they have to say. It doesn't faze me one bit. You kidding me? Whatever. Howl at the moon for all I care. 'Cause there ain't no fleas on me. And it's funny. Those no-see-ums, they are infested in Summerlin Key. And I now know why. Because greed has taken over that area. That beautiful area. It's not conducive for dogs. I was eaten alive. I've got bites all over my body from going over there. Bloodthirsty beasts. I don't have that here. And I've got a beautiful paradise. Just like at Green Acres. I couldn't go outside. I was eaten alive. Remember all the blood from the back of my neck from those bites? Oh, the heathens trying to take a piece of me? Well, they couldn't take me. Because I just kept going through it and I didn't care. You don't feel pain when you're at peace in life. You don't feel pain when you're at peace in life. So I can't wait to call Man today at that law office and explain to him what he said to me has not come true. You point, they'll box it up. I get there and by myself. Really? Who's going to box it up? Me, myself, and I? Can't wait to hear the diarrhea come out of his mouth. You know, the one that sounded like my brother on the other end of the phone. All of a sudden, because the door got opened. And then his client sends me a letter, which I signed the 14th, which is today. But then I get in the mail, next day air from his client signed, that I got till the 17th. So I'm pretty sure that made that agreement that we filed with the court an addendum. So I got 3 more days to get my stuff out. And I'm still trying to figure out this Arizona trip. Oh yeah, man's trying to make sure I don't come there. I assure you of that. So we'll see how today unfolds. Because I've got 4 days. 5 days. Let's see, today is... Yeah, I got 5 days to get there. only takes 3. See how I've got time on my hands? See how patience is a virtue? Tick tock. Tick tock. So we'll see, and I'll report back how it all pans out. Not sure if they open at 8 or 9, but I assure you I will be calling as soon as they wake up. Unless there's some unforeseen circumstance that I'm dealing with my 2 dogs or my 2 girls or... But I've got phone calls to make. I got to get my printer out because I got to get with the Florida bar exam. I don't even have a job and I'm exhausted every day. How could I even work having all this stuff on my plate? I couldn't. It's not even possible right now. This will be day 5 of going to that house and consolidating my life yet again because man decided he didn't feel like it anymore. He thought to be a hairy beast and be selfish yet again and be greedy. It's kind of funny when you teach man about a profession that they've earned millions at. Little old me teaching him about grounding himself and about you don't take the 3rd prong off a 3-prong adapter because it takes the grounding feature away, causing more harm than good to others. Kind of funny how when you do this, how you learn. Anybody that came to my office for taxes, they learned. I taught them. But this man, you ask him about accounting and taxes, and he'll say, a debit is black and a credit is red. Wow. It's really quite funny. Because when you look at the income statement, it's a whole different ballgame. Because a debit is an expense and a credit is income. See how stupid man is? Or ignorant? Or just plain not doing their homework? Man made them, they called them debit cards. It's true. Because they're expenses. A debit is an expense. So, all I can say is do your homework. List your charges for the city, state, and federal government. Do your homework. Protect you and your family and your unborn grandchildren. Starting today. List your charges and file them with the courts. Let's storm the justice system. Every household across the globe. Let's volley that ball right back to them. Loaded with truths and facts and figures. It's funny how man giggles about his ignorance. I know a debit is black and a credit is red. Wow. It is by far the funniest statement I've ever heard in my life. And he thinks it's cute. He thinks it's cute. Well, it might have been cute once. But the gig's up, man. And you're about to get knocked off your high horse. And I know just the perfect person that's going to do it. Because he already did it once. Sent this gentleman to the ER. About lost his big toenail. Oh, and the little filly that he put on my horse. The experienced rider is what I was told. Yeah. She got thrown into the drink as well. And I didn't even know none of it was going on. Guess who was watching my back? And he's watching it now. And he's watching each and every one of yours. If you surrender to him. Anybody have any stories they want to share? I'd love to hear them. Factual stories about what God did to you in your life. I would love them. Or do a video yourself. And send me the link. If you've got a YouTube channel, I'll subscribe. Because I'd love to hear your stories where God's come in and made your path straight. And you've had this. You've had your peaks and valleys. But you're in smooth sailing mode now. I would love to hear your stories. Because I have always loved to hear people's stories. That's why I love doing what I did. Because I had over 300 clients, that would come into my office and share their stories and their lives with me. Man doesn't have time to listen to that. Because his attention span is so short. If he actually took the time, something that I value with every person that I meet. He would have learned a long time ago. Who I am, who you are. So, I urge you to do your homework assignment and list what you have seen and encountered with your children, with your own lives, with your parents, your grandparents, what they experienced. Use your voice for the greater good, not to harm others. And those those humans that have caused all this harm to all of us need to pay for what they've done. They need to pay for what they've done. Because I think we've all suffered long enough, don't you? And with God on our side, we can't lose. We can't lose. And it's funny how those that support man defend man because they've been sucked right in to his charms. But in the end, there's no follow through. That's the biggest trait of him that exists on this planet right now. He's all about that, not about follow through. He brings it home. Him. So, it's your choice what you want to do. Sit back in your house and do nothing, or start doing something to defend your family and your own rights that we've been stripped of without signing up for any of them being stripped. And while you're at it, go to the Convention of States and sign the petition. We've got 18 states and we need 34 to call a Convention of States. You want a voice? There's yet another voice. And if you don't feel comfortable enough to use your own voice, well then join forces with others and learn how to get your voice. Learn how to break free from those chains of bondage that have been restricting you all these years. Break free from the depression and the PTSD that's constant in your life. And you're taking medication to silence it, yet it's still there. You have to bring it to the surface and let it go to be able to let it flow in life. Without it, you'll be in that darkness and you won't see the light shining right in front of your face. The sun comes out every day and then it sets with the glorious moon and the stars in the sky. See how beautiful God is? What he created? Man didn't make that. But he wants to erase history. Poison us with sunscreen and tell you the sun is bad for you. So you stay inside? Give me a break. I can't even tell you the countless of people who talk to me about skin cancer, and I just look at them, whatever. How about you do your life and I do mine? But I'm doing mine to help others. Even though I've been accused that it's about Natalie. It's never been about me. It's always been about them. What God did, sacrificing his son for our sins, and this is the way we're going to repay him? That's not okay. Could you imagine sacrificing one of your sons for the sins of the world? Look at one of your children and see which one you could choose. And then think of the strength he has by doing that, just that. It's your choice what you do from this day forward. And I'm just a vessel here on earth trying to spread his glorious word until he calls me home. Just like I did when I was a tax collector. So, enjoy your week ahead. Got another day of sorting through my life and deciding what needs. I feel like I'm in a Sex and the City episode. I don't want to say throw away. Give away, or donate. Well, and then sell. Because there are things that can be sold. Because I would give it all away. If man didn't make life about money, I'd give it all away. Every single thing in that house. Except for the things that I need to use. Including my client records. Because I was not going to allow them to tell me I couldn't have my corporate records. That wasn't going to happen. Even though they locked them up for safekeeping. Because I found out nobody's been in that house since I left. No one's allowed to go into that house without the realtor, the listing agent. That's him. Even though the dirty attorney told me to walk away. I can't wait to tell the board that one. They're going to love that. Move on and walk away. He told me to walk away from my corporate records. Now, what kind of good attorney is that? Pretty sure my clients would have something to say about that now, don't you? My duty to serve did not end when I sold my practice. I'm still going to protect my corporate records. That's him confirming what I just said. Couldn't have come at a better time. See how fun it is when you live in peace and you don't live in fear? You get messages from him all day long. And they come in the form of people that I meet. Where are you from? To, I need to start I had a kind of a calendar that I had at my office of all the places clients came from. Now, I've got to bring that globe. I looked at it the other day, and I thought, am I going to keep the globe or I'm not? I always want to make it into a light. But that's not going to take up a bunch of room. And I'm going to start marking all the people that I've already met since arriving here and what part of the world they're from. So like yesterday, I met boys, a group of boys. They said they were from Michigan. Well, that's where they're living, but they're originally from Lebanon. So there's 2 places to put on the globe. Venezuela, Jamaica, India, Poland, see how one voice can make a difference? So see how your voice can make a difference too. Let's unite in love and set the world on fire with that, instead of all the decay that's out there. Let's set the world on fire with love. And let's start today. See you later. Love to all bunches and bunches. Bye.